I'm still think higher. I still think higher. I still think we actually got a strong run to come. I think this kind of year-long sideways correction that we've essentially had is just a springing board to further gains.
Welcome to Dream Richer. What price do you think one Bitcoin could hit? According to Raoul Pal, one Bitcoin should have no problem hitting at least $500,000. Raoul Pal goes as far as to say that Bitcoin could in fact reach and even overtake the market cap of gold. As of now, the market cap of gold stands at a whopping value of $12.049 trillion, whilst Bitcoin, on the other hand, currently stands at a market cap of $757.66 billion. This means that Bitcoin still has an upside potential of adding extra $11 trillion to its market cap. For some, this prediction may seem wildly speculative and impossible to achieve. However, Mr. Raoul argues that this sort of price target cannot take place simply from small retail investors. Instead, it will come from large asset allocating companies and sovereign wealth funds. In fact, one of the UAE biggest sovereign wealth funds has already made public statements of wanting to invest in crypto ecosystem. Mubadala Investment Company is one of the UAE's and the world's largest wealth funds, equating to $243 billion in assets under management. What do you think the price action on Bitcoin would look like if Mubadala invests just 5% into Bitcoin? Could we start to see the price patterns predicted by Raoul Pal? If you find the video helpful, then don't forget to subscribe. Let's get right into it.
A lot of notable investors, they believe Bitcoin will reach at least $500,000 per coin, equating to the market cap of gold. Would you agree with that possibility as well?
Yeah, I have no problem with that whatsoever.
Very cool.
And how do you think it gets there?
Yeah.
It gets there, I think. I don't think it's going to be as much retail adoption. I think that moves elsewhere within the crypto Web3 kind of world. I think it's actually going to be driven by sovereign wealth funds, large asset allocation, stuff of that type. I still think higher. I still think we actually got a strong run to come. I think this kind of year-long sideways correction that we've essentially had is just a springing board to further gains as more adoption rolls out, more use cases roll out, etc. I still think risk-adjusted, ETH will do extremely well over time, just because the reason why it's expensive to use is because it's so damn popular, right? And so it's like a chain of prestige now for things to be built on, because it is the more decentralized of all of the other layer ones. So it makes sense to me. I think with the change towards ETH 2.0 coming as well, I think that narrative will build over time as well.
Despite the high price predictions for Bitcoin, Raoul Pal still believes Ethereum to be the main player of this bull run. Many people argue that Ethereum is no longer a viable crypto coin because of its high gas fees. But in the words of Raoul Pal, the high Ethereum network fees are only a testimony to its popularity. Essentially, Ethereum gas is the fee paid for executing transactions on the Ethereum blockchain. If you want to move ETH between different addresses, that transaction requires gas. Want to mint some NFT? That requires gas too. What about exchanging ETH for different tokens? You guessed it, more gas. Each transaction on the Ethereum blockchain requires a certain amount of computational power, and gas is the fee paid to miners for providing that computational power. But by the end of 2022, and by next year 2023, Ethereum is expected to roll out 2 new stages of upgrades, called the merge and shard chains. These sets of upgrades will allow Ethereum network to process thousands of transactions per second and scale globally, hence reducing gas fees significantly.
So I still think the upside in ETH is massive. In terms of market cap, where could it go? It can go another 10x from here in terms of market cap alone.
If you were 25 years old, you're hungry and take on a little bit more risk, and you want to start a portfolio with only, let's say, $10,000 to your name, how would you invest $10,000 today, 25?
It's a hard question because I would be saying if you're 25 and it's $10,000, you can fuck it up and it won't change your life. But if you get it right, it'll change your life. Now, so that says, okay, let's take some risk. The issue is where? You know, it's really hard to know, as we talked about, with all of the developments in, let's say, layer ones, what's really going to get the traction for the next phase here? I don't know. Is it going to be NFTs? Well, you really have to know what you're doing, and maybe you should spend the time. You know, you probably need to put your 1,000 hours in to start just figuring out, okay, what is my specialization? Where do I think I can understand the market better? And then take a bet accordingly. I don't see one clear opportunity. As I said, you could choose ETH, but maybe that's not as risky as you really want it to be, because you want to look for the 100Xs. That requires work, requires Discord channels, knowing who's in the community, following what people like, you know, Delphi Digital are up to, you know, the real thought leaders in the space. So it's not a straightforward answer, but the opportunity is there. Then you can look at, okay, what's something really new and upcoming that you think might be groundbreaking and it's got some amazing investors in it. Okay, maybe you take a position in that, but also in Aave, you know, as a balance to your portfolio to make sure that you don't screw it up by just taking too much risk in one go and getting it wrong on one single bet.
It's clear from Raoul Pal's explanation that Ethereum's upside looks very bullish. As Raoul Pal argues, we can see Ethereum's market cap do a 10x for here. But as with all investments, the higher the risk, the higher the return. If you want to see your investments 100x, then that requires more work. As Mr. Raoul explains, for this type of returns you need to put your 1,000 hours in by studying what the coin is. Who is behind the coin? Why is the coin expected to do well? What is the use case of the coin, and so on? What do you believe is the key player for this year? Will we see Ethereum do multiple X's with the launch of ETH 2.0, as Mr. Raoul argues? To learn more about the latest crypto news, watch these videos here.